sometimes our past feels like a shadow that lingers just a little too close. Like listeners, old memories, ingrained beliefs, or emotions that kind of seem to run on repeat. We carry them into our present, often without realizing how much they unknowingly shape our choices, our stress, the way we react to certain events in our life, and even a sense of worth. But mindful living, you know what, listeners, it asks us to pause, to notice what we are holding, and to ask, does this still serve me? Well, welcome back, listeners, to today's episode on the Mindful Living podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and I am joined by the incredible Barbara Palmer. She's a certified health and executive life coach who is helping leaders out there clear what holds them back so they can thrive in every area of life. So, together we are going to explore how we can release disempowering thoughts, emotions, and beliefs and step into a way of living that is lighter, clearer, and more intentional for us. So, listeners, let's quickly dive deep. And Barbara, welcome to the show. And as always, it is such an honor to have you here with us.
Well, thank you, Sana. It's so good to be here.
Yeah. I mean, Barbara, of course, let's first try to understand the disempowering thoughts because personally, I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually encountered, maybe in some other, with some other words or with some other meanings or examples, but let's try to understand what these disempowering thoughts are. So, according to you, when you work with clients, what are the most common disempowering memories or beliefs that show up again and again?
Uh, the ones that show up repeatedly for most people would be I'm not good enough or I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. Another one is as as far as I'm not feeling significant.
Hmm.
And there's about three more, but oh, and not deserving. I don't
Yes.
deserve this.
Yeah.
Um, and I think those are the main ones, the lack of worthiness, not deserving, not being enough, not good enough, whatever. It's something that ends up with not enough. You know, don't know enough, don't have enough,
Yeah.
about not enough.
Hmm. And this really connects with that imposter syndrome
Mhm.
that we talk in the workplace settings or professional settings. Sometimes I have personally faced it a lot, Barbara, that if I'm performing, I'm kind of in the good books of the uh, the managers whom I report to or my colleagues, and I get a lot of responsibility, additional responsibilities to drive some project in there or drive, let's say, the team's numbers in there. um, it's like, I'm kind of projected as a savior in there for the entire team. It's sometimes really, really, it dawns like this huge realization or this huge feeling in my gut, in my mind, that maybe I don't deserve this because I won't be able to do it. Maybe because it just happened out of luck, or yeah, out of luck, and I don't deserve it enough. um I was happy when it was just simple for me. And do you think this is because of the conditioning, or maybe any specific past wounds or childhood wounds, or um or the way we are actually programmed?
Well, actually, it's a combination of those things. A lot of these thoughts or beliefs were formed before we were 7 years old.
Oh.
And it's from a combination of what we saw modeled, for us, what we were taught was the case, or it could even be our own reaction or stories that we told ourselves based on events that were happening during those formative years. So,
Mm.
and actually, uh, the additional things, because I already mentioned the one about feeling where I'm not worthy, but another one is I'm not perfect. It's like where there's this comparison that goes on between ourselves and what we do and what we accomplish compared to someone else. That's based on that I'm not perfect. And you can always find someone if you get into comparisons and actually where I'm not capable. That's another one. So I mentioned the not being good enough, the not being worthy, but not being capable, not being perfect, not belonging, feeling like I don't belong. That's another one.
Hmm.
So ask me your question again.
I think you really actually answered that. It's definitely like a combination in there. I think it's kind of that, amalgamation of sometimes our the experiences that, subconsciously they kind of get embedded, permanently embedded within our, within us, and also maybe from our work or some kind of event or incident in the past. Um, and we, Barbara, we often hear advice like, um, just let go or move on. When I was laid off, that was for me at that moment, and the following days, it was like, I'm nothing without it. I'm just, now I'm nothing without it. I mean, my complete identity was tied up to the fact that um I was part of this team, I was part of this organization. I contributed, people appreciated me. I got recognized as well, but then it all went off like a, poof of air. And
Right.
uh, that that was such a horrible time for me because all these thoughts and now I would call them as assumptions. So my mistake, my wrong thoughts, actually I would outrightly call them as wrong thoughts. They actually created my self-worth. They contributed to my understanding of self-worth. um it's not so simple. People, they definitely told me, okay, it happened, it's happening with others as well, so just let it go, move on. um and you shouldn't stop. But then it's also not simple. How do you guide someone to start clearing those patterns in a way that actually feels like a flow, not
Yeah.
for yet grounded?
Well, that's why I used the MAP technique. I'm also certified in a technique called mind movie method transformation. Uh, but with MAP, that is the main one that I use as far as clearing the limiting beliefs, because the person may not be in touch with what the limiting beliefs are. And with MAP, you don't have to be. All you need to know is that something keeps getting in the way, or, like uh, what you just mentioned. If you can think of a particular event that happened and how you were feeling, and when you are even talking about that, during using the map process, we could have a conversation where we engage. that part of you called your superconscious that's been with you since your conception, that knows everything about you, everything that you've been through, everything you really desire, and even your purpose for being. That part of you, having a conversation with it in connection to what you experience and how you realize that your identity, because any words I am are connected to your identity. And when the statements you make about yourself are also connected to your identity. So I call these false identities when it's based on what you're not. It's not based on what you really are. It's based on what you're not. I'm not worthy. I'm not perfect. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. I'm not significant. I don't belong. And because they are false, even if you were to so-called fulfill them, because it's not based on the truth, that's why you end up experiencing feeling so empty.
Mm.
Sometimes people even feel empty without losing a job. You know, you have folks that seemingly have experienced all kinds of success in life, but something was empty in their life. You know, when we think about people as talented as like with who was it, Robin Williams, or uh, um, and I just know, and it's not about judgment. It's just about observing the fact that it's not about all the stuff that you have. It's about how you feel on the inside about you. You know, being mindful of how you feel about you. And knowing that a lot of the old programming, um, is it's a combination. It's a combination of the stories we told ourselves when things didn't go the way we wanted, as children. It's like, we can tell ourselves that we're not good enough. We're the ones that can tell ourselves that. I am not good enough, you know? I'm not significant. I think about the stories I used to tell myself. I come from a large family, long story short. Um, so I have a sister who's older than me. So wherever I went as far as school, I was normally following in her footsteps a couple of years after her. And where I was constantly being compared to her. Well, that happened before I even started school. You know, that started, just in the house, the house that we grew up in. It's like, whether my parents meant to do it or not, that's what was happening, where we were being compared to one another. It's like, what she did became a standard in one way or another that impacted me. And so it was easy for me to think things like, I wasn't good enough, even though I was intelligent. There were times that I didn't even try. I'm just being for real. I didn't even try to get, an A in a particular course. Because it was easy for me to. I really was. I was smart enough to. I could have gotten A's, but it was like a part of me was saying, "What's the point?" It's like, I can actually, get passing grades and, instead of A, maybe I'll get a B, and I will also get to, do some things that are fun, you know? But it's where I made the decision, what I was going to do and what I wasn't gonna do, but the reality was there was a part of me that felt like, I'm not good enough, so what's the point, you know? But as far as how things can play out in our lives, it's where, uh so overachieving was something that became one of my things. So in my becoming more mindful, as realized, it's like, "Oh my god," you know, how I just like I'm overtrained. I'm overqualified. And I don't say that as something like, yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm saying that as something I'm aware of.
Mm.
I have a master's in Christian counseling. I am certified in 3 different methods as far as a life coach, but I also recognize that there's a point where I was in touch with the fact that the kind of coach I wanted to be, I wanted to make sure that my clients had accelerated results. And in order for that to happen, I needed to go on the journey I went on. So, it's like I realized that what I would sometimes call overachievement was not overachievement. It was me being true to how I am. The way I am, I want to provide the best. I want to provide not just the best, but I want to provide accelerated results because I know they're possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that really takes you to some, discovering new possibilities, new strengths. I mean, it kind of, would really, really push you to think, oh my goodness, I didn't know I could do this. So, yeah.
Yes. And that brings up something about the MAP process. It's like, so that with the MAP, the Make Anything Possible process of coaching, where I'm communicating with this person's superconscious and helping them to achieve goals and to get rid of, let go of, neutralize disempowering beliefs that no longer serve them, um, and helping them to focus on what it is they do want to achieve. Uh, and allowing whatever those limiting beliefs are to surface in their thoughts long enough for the superconscious to see them, tag them, treat them, neutralize them, and to strengthen their ability to believe in what they really desire, to accomplish. Um, that's what the map process makes possible. So it's like it's there to clear, and then there's an intentional way that the conversation goes so that we're bringing into the active experience. When I say active, is if it's in their conscious mind, that means that there's a whole lot that they don't know that is also connected to what's in their conscious mind that's also active in their subconscious. The MAP process is treating both. It's treating what's in the conscious mind as well as everything connected to what popped up.
Mm.
So it's very powerful, and the person feels this change during the session. And the thing about our memories, and that's really what it is, we're treating memories. And even when these thoughts about, whether it's true or not true, I am good enough or I am not, those are just memories that we just rehearsed enough times that we believe them as true, even if they're not true. They're experienced as though they are true. But with MAP, that can be cleared in minutes.
Mm.
And what's behind when you clear a limiting belief, it's beautiful. There's wisdom that's behind it. There's insight that's behind it that comes through. It's beautiful to see that when a person experiences that. It's like because we're having this map conversation, and part of what I do is there's a point where I've communicated with their superconscious and I'm checking back in with them. And one of the things I ask them is, so what's present for you? What's happening? What are you thinking? And that's when some of what I'm talking about as far as this insight, this, oh, wow, am realizing that I've been doing whatever, it's something they didn't even realize they were doing before. Or all of a sudden, I am remembering how my mother or my father used to talk to me and how I would feel. And I also am realizing that the strong feelings that I had that were attached to all that, it's like they just disappeared.
Mm.
It's like it's like I'm free. They can still remember what happened, but the charge, the story, all of that, it's like superconscious said it, just let it that's letting something go. It's not
Mm.
there. The story is no longer there, but the memory is. That's beautiful for a person to be able to do that, and I've experienced that for myself. So, it's like my clients aren't experiencing something that it's like I can't relate to. I can totally relate to having a haunting memory for over 40 years. Oh, m tell the truth, over 60 years, totally disappear,
Mm.
and I still remember what happened, but it doesn't hurt at all.
Mm. Wow. That really, 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 really feels refreshing. And Barbara, in your when talking about map, now they really, really, I mean, it really, really is based in neuroscience and technology. So,
Yes.
does it need any kind of any additional tool or channel, or it's like through conversations or deep discussions, like how exactly it looks like, a typical map session with
A
your client?
typical map session is a conversation.
Okay.
It's a conversation, the conversation, and also it does incorporate, uh, just, since it's neuroscience based, it's based on helping the person to be relaxed, be comfortable, and, to know that, the process is gentle. And we only focus on what they choose to focus on, and we allow their superconscious to communicate. Their superconscious is communicating with my superconscious, and we have a specific procedure that we follow. And MAP is so tailored and customized that I basically know that the person is going to guide the session, whether they realize it or not. I am not guiding the session. The only thing that I am doing is I'm following proven procedures as far as, okay, so what do you want to focus on? And what they wanna focus on is gonna be based on something that keeps popping up in their head. That's one of the ways that we know that a part of us wants to address something. So
Mm.
so whatever they wanna focus on, and then I can, even ask them, "Is there something you wanna create or change?" And it's almost like the timing of my even asking them is going to touch on something once again within them that they're mindful, that they're aware of, and they even if they don't know why, it doesn't matter if they know why. What matters is if they're aware of it. And we start from there. And I said, so do I have your permission to work with your superconscious mind to neutralize and treat memories during this session? They say
Mm.
yes, and we're off.
Hmm. Wow. I mean, that is really, really, I mean, it sounds simple, but I think it's kind of unfolding, like a movie. And
It is an unfolding, and because actually there are, let's say, like 5 different sections or possibilities in terms of different ways that I can go, and even within each of those, it's like a section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5. I don't know where superconscious is going to take me. I'm just prepared to go wherever I'm guided for that person during that session.
mm.
And as we do, whatever it is that they wanted to focus on, that's what gets addressed. That's where the memories that are triggered and become active, those are the memories that are treated and neutralized. If there's something that they wanted to achieve, they get an opportunity to be strengthened from the inside in terms of their ability to hold that vision that they have for themselves without the contradictory thoughts warring against it.
Mm.
Those negative or what I would call those contradictory thoughts get to check out. There's a point where it's like, okay, that's no longer serving this person. And sometimes we get to talk to different parts of your your memory during the process. You know, there might be certain parts of you that are afraid of change. You know, maybe as a child, like change was traumatic, There could be a part of you, like a younger part of you that gets, uh, we'll just say awakened and it's like, this is scary. Um, but whatever comes up with the map process, it's very gentle. It's where if there was a part that was like a young part that was, afraid, that it's like just, I would have a conversation and say, "Parts, just wanna remind you, parts, that, you do not die, you do not lose information, you simply exchange information, with, uh, it's like with your, superconscious or the other parts of you so that ultimately your main personality and you n know exactly the same thing. You're all on the same page, everything's integrated, basically. It's like just having that conversation, and so is it, do you, want to be treated?
Hmm.
And it's gonna be a yes or a no, and if it's a no, I may ask the superconscious to, just, find a safe and gentle way to, just kinda put those memories in a safe space until they're ready to be treated. And
Mm.
then we ask again. So, are all parts ready to be treated? Yes or no? And sometimes it's just the fact that they were respected and we took the time to stop. And then we go back and say, are you ready for all parts to be treated? And it will be a yes. And we keep going. But it's a beautiful process, but it's very honoring of everything that you've been through and what you want now.
Of course. Oh, wow. Um, and before we conclude, Barbara, there's this school of thought that says painful memories and beliefs that actually sometimes, they feel success. Like many entrepreneurs or leaders, they will say, my hardship made me stronger, whatever I had to suffer to. And to some extent, Barbara, I would also would like to agree with this. Sometimes if I'm trying something new right now, it really makes me so much strong to think about how I had to deal with some of the lows in my life and take some lessons from there. And that exactly is kind of a motivation for me. Do you think clearing those could risk dulling that edge?
Well, one of the things about MAP, it never is going to clear something that you need. So just know that. It never is gonna clear something that because we're dealing with a part of you that knows everything. It's like,
Mm.
imagine that this is a part of you that's actually connected to your creator. Yeah. So it knows everything about you, and, comes from a place of love, only wants to help you, and and is very gentle. And, but as far as clearing something after a person has, experienced a difficult, we'll say a difficult experience or time, it is true that we we grow. We grow more, when it's like when we're dealing with something that is challenging. There's more growth than, times that are just, easy. However, what can happen is, and this is where someone may want to clear something, there can be a part of you that actually starts to believe that struggle is necessary, that
Mm.
you can't experience success without struggle. And that is not true. Because there are people who experience success because someone, they just happened upon a person who had the resources they did not have, had the connections they did not have, and they were almost escorted through these open doors that they did not know even existed.
Mm.
But what they did have is they had a dream, they had a vision. They imagined that some kind of way they would be able to do whatever it is that they were doing.
Mm.
That's what they had that made all of that possible. The so even when, the difficult, things happen, as long as when the person thinks about going for something new, they don't automatically have something pop up anticipating struggle, then we're fine. But if it's po but if when they think about going after something that they haven't experienced before, and there's a part of them that is reminding them of various struggles that they had to deal with, it's a good idea for them to clear because there's a pattern of expecting and assuming some unnecessary stuff that they would end up experiencing just because they're waiting for it.
Mm. That's beautifully answered, Barbara. I think, and I think it's such an important nuance here for all of us because growth isn't about removing or erasing the past, but I think it's really getting into that um pilot, that cockpit or the driver's seat. So the past isn't controlling us or steering us unconsciously. Uh,
Right.
us realizing that my past is really moving me. It's driving me.
Right. Uh,
Uh, yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
um, it's bringing up an analogy that I've used, it's the whole thing about, who's driving your life. I ask people that sometimes, and I said, letting your past rule, um, is like driving forward, looking in the rearview mirror. Where do you think you're gonna go?
Mm.
So, and actually, in order for us to be fully present, the whole thing about being mindful, is being present so that you're able to show up fully. It's like the same way that we can sit down, like over dinner or something with someone and they're not present, they're on their phone. Whatever it is they're doing something other than being there with you.
Yeah.
We can do that to ourselves where we're not fully present when we're alone to ourselves. Where it's like you're getting ready to do something it might help to actually kinda quiet yourself and get in touch with the fact that, "Okay, so I'm getting ready to do this."
And I think that can be such a strong realization because, if let's say I'm talking to someone or I'm having dinner with someone and, they're into their phone or they're looking somewhere else or they're just, okay, yeah, okay, okay, fine, yeah. It's kind of, disrespectful. I would tell to that person that, I mean, we are here, we're having our dinner, but it really looked like you were not attentive or maybe you were not even listening to me, you were just hearing me. And if we translate this situation into our own life with ourselves, I think normally we don't find it disrespect. Normally we don't even realize it. But that is really, and that's where compassion and this gratitude, uh, they really come into the picture.
Yeah, and even when you look in the mirror, do we really see ourselves when we look in the mirror? I think you have to be intentional to see yourself. It's like, I've been doing it long enough now that, it's been years, but on a consistent basis, daily, I look in the mirror and I look into my eyes. I love you. And, it's like, I'm not necessarily gonna have a long conversation, but it's like, I see you. I know that you are more than this body, which is why I look into my eyes.
Exactly.
And I say thank you to my body. I really appreciate how you support me in my journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't manifest only emotionally or mentally, but it also manifests physically,
Yes.
biologically.
Yes. And it's all connected. It's all connected. So when I'm feeling joy, when I am smiling, because I'm looking at myself and saying, I love you. I love you. All of you. Everything about you, all your parts. I love you. And this is this is an exciting adventure. Aren't we having a wonderful adventure? Because it's like, okay, mind, just, and I realize our time is about out, if not already. But I was just thinking about the mind is such a wonderful thing, but the mind cannot do what our heart was created to do. Our passions, those deep-seated desires that are a part of that uniqueness that is you or me. It's like we're
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
goodness. Mhm.
it's like realizing that we are a package. We have this body, we have this spirit, the soul. We have these desires, and it's like I can see the same way there is this quantum field of possibilities. It's like there is this, we'll say, this mini field around us where our desires that are unique to us, the imagination that we have, the body, everything that is a part of our experience is in that little field.
Mm.
And some of what's in that field, is influenced or can be influenced by what happened with our ancestors, and MAP addresses things like that too. And this is just an example. A person can have similar events or patterns happening in their life to something that an ancestor had, whether they know it or not. And with MAP, it can clear things like that too, because some of the things that are influencing us and what's happening in our lives do go beyond our experience, since birth. Some of it goes back to things that are in our DNA or in our field. Like I said, they're finding out more and more about, what influences us. And, and that memories exist beyond our brain. We have memories in our bodies. We have memories around our that are in our field around our bodies. But they're connected to us.
Yes, they are. They are.
Yeah.
Well, what a powerful conclusion to this conversation, listeners, and there. And once again, it's a ritual that we have to do. So, Barbara, if listeners they would like to connect with you and explore more about MAP, Make Anything Possible, and other of your transformational tools in there and the resources that you provide, what is the easiest way?
Easiest way is to email me at bp@bplifecoachingservices.com. Also, they can go to my website, bplifecoachingservices.com, and they can uh, actually book a discovery session. And it's a free 30-minute a strategy session that where we get familiar what it is that they're wanting to do or see happen in their life, and we kind of come up with a plan together and go from there.
Absolutely. And listeners, what I'll do for you is I'll have the details mentioned in the show notes. So just refer to them on your favorite podcast platform along with this episode. And I think, as you know, before we close, I'm if I can summarize here, let's see. Like mindful living, it isn't about doing everything or doing it perfectly, but it is about awareness. And we all carry these memories and beliefs that, they can really feel very, very heavy at times. I am in there with all of you listeners because I have personally gone through Barbara. I mean, we all go. I mean, we are humans. But clearing them, it doesn't mean erasing who we are.
Right.
It means that we are embarking upon this journey of making space for who we are becoming. So, Barbara, thank you so much for enlightening us, with laying the foundation of this path, sharing your wisdom, and also reminding us that transformation is possible not by rejecting our past, but by working with it in new ways. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. And to all of our listeners, may you pause today, notice what you are carrying, and ask yourself, does this story still serve me or not? Maybe it's time to lay it down gently because it doesn't happen in just one go. Until next time, keep breathing, keep noticing, and keep living mindfully. Thank you.